Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Ali. I'm a doctor based in the UK, and today I am joined by the lovely Kharma medic. Hello.
Hi guys.
Can you introduce yourself to the two people in the audience who don't know who you are?
So hi everyone, my name is Nasser. I'm now a fourth year medical student studying at King's College London, and I also have a YouTube channel on the side where I spend most of my free time making videos about my experience in medical school, trying to give everyone an insight into what life is like as a medical student.
Yeah, and you have lots and lots and lots of subscribers.
We just passed 500,000, which is amazing.
I was going to say you have several dozen of them, which would have been funny for everyone who knows. Yeah. Oh well, it's fine. This is a Q&A video, so as usual, all of the questions are going to be in timestamps in the video description, so feel free to skip around if you feel like it. But Nasser and I are going to be answering all the questions that you lot sent in via Instagram. So by the way, follow us both on Instagram because we post content about day in the life and all that kind of stuff if you're into that sort of thing. Should we dive into it?
Let's do it. So I've got a good question here from Mulark ZY Queronica.
Yeah, she sounds Polish.
I hope I'm saying this right. She says, hi guys, how do you manage your to-do list? Do you put all the tasks in your paper, journals, or calendars?
Oh, this is a good time for a cheeky screen share. Okay, so for my to-do lists, I use the app Things, which is fantastic. So I essentially have a list of all of the projects that I'm working on, and I mark them as projects and things. So building a second brain, daily content machine, Notion masterclass, Infinity content engine, blah, blah, blah. All of this cool stuff. And I have my team members who are also working on different projects, just so I can keep track of who's working on what. And then I have these different areas that are set up. So for example, I have a list of my friends' birthdays. I have like my bucket list, which is items on my bucket list.
Super organized.
Essentially what I'll do is that I'll put things into my inbox, and then at various points throughout the day, or at least once a day, I'll process my inbox and convert stuff into projects. And I will put stuff in my to-do list if it's things I have to do on a given day. What about you? How do you manage yours?
So I keep 3 to-do lists, one for life, one for medical school, and one for YouTube. And throughout the day, anytime I think of pretty much anything, I'll immediately write it down in one of those to-do lists, because otherwise I'll forget and it'll never get done. And then I'll hate myself for not having written it down to begin with. And I check through those 3 to-do lists as periodically as I can, definitely before I've gone to sleep, so I can plan if I need to do anything tomorrow. But yeah, splitting it up into 3 different ones is much better for me than just having a long list of many different intertwined things. And that way I can split up my work as well.
Sweet.
So I've got a question here from Jody Orange, and they ask, time management tips to achieve between being a medical student and being a YouTuber. So whenever I get asked this question of how do you keep up your YouTube channel and also be a full-time medical student or anything else, what I always say is that my YouTube channel is something that I've considered a non-negotiable in my life. So it's something that is going to happen no matter what. And so even if I'm gonna have delayed sleep, if I'm gonna have less social events, although it doesn't normally happen because I've got everything done on time. But even if other aspects of my life need to get pushed away a little bit in order for my video to go live every week, that's gonna happen because I've told myself that's gonna happen and I don't wanna let myself down. And so similarly for exercise or other activities, if I tell myself it's non-negotiable, then I make sure it gets done. And I encourage people to do that as well if there's something they really care about, because you can fit it in. You just need to organize your time in such a way that it does.
Yeah.
That's like my viewpoint on it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the same for me. Like if you make it a priority, it will happen, because I think what we're doing at any moment is what we most want to be doing in that moment. And if it's actually a priority for you, you'll find a way to make it happen. And yeah, I completely agree with this point about like, it's not even an option. It's not a choice. It's not like I could publish a video if I feel like it. It's I have to publish a video every Thursday, 8:30 a.m. or whatever your time slot is.
Something that you said a while ago resonated with me, which was like, I don't decide what I feel like doing. I decide what I need to do right now. And I completely agree with that. I don't have this idea of, oh, I don't feel like doing something. If it's on my to-do list and it needs to get done, then I'm just gonna go to my desk and do it. And I don't even consider the fact that, oh, I'd actually rather take a nap or watch a video. It just has to happen.
Yeah. Also, I've got a video called 8 Tips of Time Management, link in the video description. You've got a video about time management coming up soon. We'll put a link there. I've also got a Skillshare class about productivity and a second one on the way. Link in the video description. Boom, boom,
plug
boom.
Emojis everywhere.
There we go.
Plug.
Okay, next we have a question from Gavin Vasandani, who says, what inspired you to make YouTube videos? I'm curious about this.
So when I first got accepted to medical school, it was after I had done an undergraduate degree in Toronto, after I'd already been rejected by 4 medical schools in 2013 when I'd first applied. And so I felt like during this 4-year time span, I had learned so much about the application process and what it takes, or what people are looking for to get into medical school. So I decided, let me share this information. So I made a Reddit, ask me anything. And I said, hey, I got into medical school, ask me anything. Nobody replied. I did the same thing on the student room forum. nobody replied. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll take all this content and I'll put it into a video. And so that's what I did. And my goal was to help 10 people get accepted to medical school. And when I helped 10 people, that was gonna be it. I was gonna stop doing YouTube videos, but then it obviously evolved into a lot more, and I really, really enjoyed it. So I've kept on going.
That's so noble and altruistic and stuff.
Okay.
I'm a bit suspicious.
Okay.
There's a nice quote from that's often attributed to JP Morgan that's talked about in the book The Elephant in the Brain, which is that a man always has two reasons for doing something, a good reason and the real reason.
Okay.
And so if you were to ask me what inspired me to start YouTube, the honest answer would have to be that I saw a business opportunity. I saw a way to promote courses that I was running. I saw a way to make money online. I knew that YouTubers were making it big, and I loved the idea of being famous, so that ultimately I could, I don't know, do more interesting things. Because the bigger your audience and the more of an audience you have, the more it just unlocks various opportunities in your life. And so for me, it very much started out as an entirely selfish, motivated by money type of thing.
I mean, I think
later morphed into like a sort of, oh, it's quite nice to help people.
I think that's completely fair enough. And the fact that you already had these businesses that would benefit a lot from having an audience to promote to, that makes perfect sense. And I don't think there's anything wrong with starting a YouTube channel with the intention of making money or growing your business.
Okay.
But at the time, I honestly just did it because I enjoyed making videos. Like I've been editing videos for a long time before that about like my vacations, like playing basketball or any silly stupid thing here or there. So I enjoyed the editing process and I enjoyed making videos, and that's how it started.
Damn, that's inspiring stuff. If you won the lottery, would you still make videos?
It's a very good question. I think probably, but at a lesser frequency.
Yeah, same. I wouldn't do any sponsored video. I wouldn't bother with any courses.
You wouldn't need any sponsored videos.
You wouldn't need any of that stuff.
None of the stressful aspect of video making.
So you just kind of do the things that you enjoy. But it would be nice to make a video about this thing that I've been thinking about.
Yeah, like you'd still vlog, you'd still like read the comments and interactions and things like that.
It is genuinely quite fun.
Exactly.
I think that's quite a telling question. Like, in general, if like it's a question I like to ask people who are in real jobs. Be like, hey, if you won the lottery, would you still do your job for fun? Most people would say like, oh, no, definitely not. But I think for YouTubers, often the answer is, yeah, I probably would.
You would? You just wouldn't necessarily stick to such a strict schedule.
Yeah.
Like now you do 2 to 3 videos a week. I can barely keep up with one. But that's something that I stick to, whereas I wouldn't necessarily put that much pressure on myself.
Sure. So altruistic, selfish. I think that's the message from this question.
It's not that black and white.
Okay, cool. All right. You can do what? All right, next we have a question from RMLTGR2405. Thank you. It says, what do you feel when you watch each other's videos on YouTube?
Okay. So when I first started making YouTube videos, I obviously looked at other people's YouTube videos in the medical school productivity space. And Ali Abdaal was, I think, the biggest creator at the time then, and is one of the biggest creators, if not the biggest now. So I've been watching his videos ever since I started making videos. And I get a lot of tips for productivity and workflow from you. Like Notion was introduced to me by you. I used to listen to things at 1.5 times speed, but after you also did it, I was like, okay, I need to do it on everything. It like justified it for me to do it on YouTube videos as well. So yeah, I definitely get a lot of like actual practical life tips from you. And you are one of the very few channels that I subscribe to on both my personal YouTube account and my YouTube channel YouTube account. If that makes sense. Cool. So yeah, I really enjoy your videos.
Oh, thank you.
They're actually great.
That's very kind of you. When I watch your videos...
Hopefully you like my videos too, yeah.
I do. And I'm often surprised by how much I like them because I suppose in my head, like anytime I watch anyone's YouTube videos, I'm usually not watching it for the content. Okay. I'm usually watching it for the meta around it. Like, for example, you did like a really good vlog, like an incredibly good one. And I was like, damn, this is so good. And I felt like that was a better vlog than one that I've ever put together. And so after watching that, I was thinking, right, I need to up my game because from my position, it's like you started YouTube a year after I did, and you're growing faster than I did at the time. Okay. And so for me, I'm like, damn, I've got to stay at the top of the game here because there is like a real feeling that, I don't know, like a new kid on the block will just come in. I just kind of have this anxiety that, oh, you know, then I'll be surpassed, like whatever the hell that means, and then I'm going to end up broken, homeless, and it's just a line of reasoning that doesn't make any sense at all.
Big jump.
But I think that often is what inspires me about watching quote smaller YouTubers. That okay, what can I learn from this to make my own videos better? So like your vlog was a great example. I also love watching your USMLE videos because I'm preparing for it, and in that context, like obviously. You're more of a pro bit than I, and it's actually genuinely helpful. Okay. And I know that, and I need to stick to a consistent and disciplined study routine.
Yes, a rigid, solid steel one.
But no, I get a lot of inspiration and tips from your videos.
That's awesome, man. That's really cool.
Thank you for the ongoing motivation.
Yeah, I just want to add to what you said that definitely like on my YouTube account,
Yeah.
and I subscribe to all these channels, you learn so much from other people's like editing techniques, even how they talk, what footage they include, what they don't, the framing of the camera, everything. So I definitely find value in that and sort of seeing what I can add to my own videos to make them better as well. So
nice. Okay, next we have a question from James Bavara. Thank you, James, who says, are there any regrets you guys have throughout medical school?
Do you want to tackle this one first?
Yeah, I'd say that for me, the only regrets I have through medical school are for times where I have accidentally or on purpose been mean to someone in some way. Like, there have been a few instances where I've like accidentally kind of said something that I didn't realize would kind of have repercussions further down the line, or just been accidentally insensitive. And like a couple of occasions where I sort of knew that I was being a bit mean, but just sort of kind of lent into it a bit. And every single time without fail, I have always regretted it. And that is literally the only strand of regret I have about my life ever, apart from the fact that I didn't take more notes when reading books when I was younger. That's another big regret that I have.
I think my biggest regret is in first year, I was so obsessed with making sure that I wrote notes on every single aspect of every single lecture that I came across. And I ended up spending so much time in my first year sitting in the library taking these notes when I could have been doing a million other things. I could have started this YouTube channel a whole year early, could have been socializing more, hanging out more, etc. And sort of looking back, I know I didn't need to put in that much time and effort, or I could have done something in a more efficient way. So yeah, that's something I would definitely change going back.
How do you feel about taking notes in general? We've had a few questions about this.
I've been waiting for this to come up between us.
I think taking notes is a total waste of time.
I know you do. I know you do. And in theory, I understand why you think it's a waste of time.
I still do it. I still take notes.
Oh, you still do it? Okay.
Like for USMLE stuff, going through Python, I'm writing a few things down, screenshotting, but I'm putting it underneath a question.
Yes.
So that I'm always forcing myself to active recall when I do stuff.
So that's something I've taken from you and I'm trying to do more and more is do active recall. And I'm using the little Notion toggles in order to do that.
Yeah.
And if you read the first couple pages of the FA book, it says taking notes is the worst way to learn. And I've seen your video on evidence-based thing on why it's the worst.
Taking notes is the worst way to learn, yeah.
And I understand, I can see why it's the worst way to learn, but somehow I feel like it's the best way for me to get that information, just like write it down and see it and read it.
Okay.
And so that's why I'm still stuck in this mode of taking notes. I get anxiety from doing Anki. You know, for example, there's no context in there for me.
Yeah, it's really annoying. It's very bitty.
It's very, one fact at a time. So I appreciate the note taking, even though I know there's better ways to do it.
Yeah, no, fair dues. I think for me, like for the USMLE stuff, I've been looking into Anki, and every time I do an Anki session, I think I know exactly what the content of the flashcard is. Like I could tell you when it's phrased in that context, what microscopic polyangiitis does. But if you asked me in real life, what is microscopic polyangiitis?
You just don't know.
I would I have no way of integrating those 18 flashcards on it to form a coherent picture, which is why I got these kind of physical notebooks that I was showing you earlier to draw like spider diagrams and concept maps. Because I also find that when I have something, like for example, all of hematology, if I can get into one page, then its position on the page and its color and the stuff around it will allow me to, I understand where mantle cell lymphoma fits into the bigger picture.
Exactly that. If you can fit everything into one field of vision, one field of view, it helps so much connecting the different parts, and it's easy to remember location. Location and color is like so underrated in note taking. So yeah, I highly recommend that.
Sick. All right.
So I've got a question here from soft__study, and she's asking, or he's asking, what are your stress?
That was problematic. That's not very woke.
Which I do. They are asking,
there we go.
What are your stress management tips? So I think for me, by far the biggest thing I do to relieve stress is exercise. Exercise is the best thing I can possibly do. It clears my head, makes me have a mental reset, and just generally makes me feel better when I sit back down to go studying. And I wouldn't change that for anything else.
What does stress mean? I find it hard to appreciate stress.
Good question. Yeah, in the general sense of the word stress, I feel like I don't really feel that stress generally. But sometimes there's so many things going on that you feel overwhelmed and you kind of need like a reset, and sort of clearing your head, going for a run, going to the gym, or just doing something else helps move on from that, you know?
So it's sort of like a feeling of overwhelm.
A feeling of overwhelmed, yeah.
Okay.
For me.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I sometimes have that. I think my thing is I just listen to lots of fiction audiobooks. And so when I was commuting to work an hour each way, I'd have like 2 hours of listening to fiction audiobooks in the car. And so when I get home, I wouldn't need any downtime or relaxation time because I've had that 2 hours in the day in the car listening to a fantasy audiobook. And then I could just kind of, do the hustle thing. For example, last night, I wouldn't say I was feeling stressed. Yeah.
Stress is an interesting word. Stress is an interesting word.
What do people mean when they say stress? Let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
So I feel like when we get stressed, we just write down what we need to do on a to-do list to eliminate that stress. And then we go and do it. And then the stress is gone. But I feel like maybe people who deal with stress in a more emotional way than a practical way, sort of, am I on a trail of thought that...
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
Cut.
All right, let's move on.
All right.
Next, we have a question, which isn't really a question, but it's a big thing during a lot of these, and that you and I get a lot of emails, Instagram DMs, tweets, Facebook messages, whatever, from people looking to ask for advice.
Yeah.
And there are certain types of questions that are far more likely to get a response than others. And I just wanted to, I wonder what your thoughts are on this. Like, how do you, because obviously we both want to reply to everyone, but there's physically not enough hours in the day to reply to everyone.
Yeah.
And so how do you prioritize who you reply to?
Yeah, up until about 200,000 subscribers, I was replying to every single comment and every email that I got. And then it got to the point where I realized I was answering sort of the same questions over and over again.
Yeah.
And a lot of those questions have been answered already in previous videos of mine or someone else who's more knowledgeable than me on the topic, like Ali Abdaal or anyone else on YouTube, right? So generally questions for me that I'm more likely to respond to are very specific, and they're not something that's vague that can be put into Google, right? So if I receive an email where there's a question that could just as easily be answered by searching that into Google, then I'm very unlikely to respond to it. Every now and again, I'll get a question about a specific situation somebody's in where they're looking for advice, and I'll respond to that on my email, especially if I'm sitting at my desk already with my email open. But yeah, what about you?
Yeah, I think this as well. Like, I get way too many emails from people who, for some reason, think that it's more efficient to ask me something like, what are the grade requirements to get into Cambridge for medicine? Well, you could literally find that on the website. And I've not been in the system for like 10 years now. Like, what am I supposed to know about it? And I get why people are asking. I get that it's probably a thing of, well, people talk about parasocial relationships. I feel like I know this person. I feel like they would respond to my question.
Right.
But when you get like, if you try and put yourself in the shoes of the other person, where they're getting like 200 emails a day from people asking questions, and you actually want a response, you've got to figure out a way of phrasing your question in a way that makes them more likely to respond. One thing that I always find helps is that structuring it in a very specific fashion, but also kind of making it obvious what the question is, because often, and I'm sure you get this as well, it ends up being like sort of 3 paragraphs stream of consciousness. At the end, it says, yeah, I'm not even really sure what I'm asking. I just want to know your thoughts on it. And so I'd look at that and be like, there's 3 paragraphs here. I'm on the toilet. I've got 2 more seconds to finish my wee. I don't even have time to read all of this, let alone respond to it. Whereas the people who give 3 paragraphs and, at the top, they say kind of the question, should I take biology or should I take chemistry? Here is the context. Here is what I think I should do. Here is what I think you would say given what I know of your content and your videos. Yeah. Here is what I think the answer is. Tell me what you think. Like those are the emails I'm going to respond to.
Yeah, and like I think about it like if I'm emailing a consultant at my hospital, right? I'm very succinct and I'm very strict with what it is that I want to say to them. The subject is very clear. It's like one single title that encompasses the whole email, and then it's like, hello, this is exactly what I need. Best regards, thank you. And those are the emails that I feel like are more likely to get to response. They're like succinct, straight to the point, and yeah, exactly what you need.
Yeah, and there is also a good blog post, I think on Tim Ferriss's blog, where it's called like how to email busy people, and he's got like a good template. He's got some good guidance on how to do it. And 98% of people who email me don't follow that template, and you probably should, because I mean, if you want a response, that's how you get a response from someone who gets lots of emails. as twatted as I sound saying that.
Yeah, it really does sound like coming from like such a privileged position. It sounds really bad, but at the point when I was responding to all of my emails, it would take genuinely like 2 hours of the day. And that's a lot of time to dedicate to responding to different questions.
And now you're getting 250% more than that. Like,
so
it's literally impossible to respond really to all of them. So sorry guys, we'd love to reply, but you got to make it easy.
We're doing our best.
We're doing our best. When are you two doing a collab with Anas Nuur Ali? We're waiting.
Oh.
He was supposed to come over today, but he had to work instead. So, joke's on you, mate.
Next time. Question from I'm Sarah IHP. Why are you both interested in doing residency in the USA? ? American flag emoji and scared face.
Doing residency in the USA. I've made a long half-an-hour video about this, which will be linked somewhere. But essentially, my view is that it'll just be a bit more of an adventure. I think if I do residency or do training in the UK, I will sort of intrinsically be limiting the amount of people I can come into contact with, the new people I can meet, the adventure that I'll have, because I've been in the UK, I've been in Cambridge for the last 8 years. Like, training in the UK is not particularly going to be much of a challenge. Whereas I feel like moving across the world to a different country where I don't really know many people. Just be a bit of an adventure, really. And it's probably not something I would regret.
Yeah. I doubt you'll regret that if you were to do it. And you can always come back. So for me, I've sort of grown up in multiple different countries throughout my life. And something that really scares me is the idea of being trapped somewhere that I don't want to be. And so for me, writing the USMLE Step 1 is a way to keep my doors open for the future. So if I decide I want to go to the States in the future, I will be already on that path. If I decide I want to go to Canada to practice medicine in the future, I will be on that path. And similarly, if I'd like to stay in the UK, that's what I'm working towards while I'm here. So I want to have these doors open should I change my mind in the future.
All right, so that's the end of this first half of the Q&A. We've got the second half over on Kharma Medic's channel. That will be linked over here. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you there. Bye-bye.